Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Surviving Mars. It's episode 3 and it's time to bring in a couple of colonists. But before I do that, I first need to make sure that this dome is actually capable of supporting life. Right now it is just a dome with an archaeology spire in it. It doesn't even have any power. And more importantly, it does not receive water, it doesn't receive air, and it doesn't receive any form of power. Which is something else that I will need to direct over there. In order to bring enough power in here, it's going to require, what is that, 35. That's a lot of power. And currently I only have a production of 35, so during the day I would be able to field it. During the night, not so much. It really depends on how much I'm able to charge up these power accumulators during the day. And especially with the dust storm, which is going to happen right about now for another day and a half. Well, power is going to come at a premium. Sure enough, this thing actually produces more. Power production increased due to the dust storm. But aside from that, that's the only... Or actually no, this one also, the Stirling generator. I can close that thing up to make sure it doesn't receive too much of the dust. And then I only have a margin of 10 power. What I can do in the meanwhile is set up the rest of the facilities that I will need at some point. Such as producing food. This does consume oxygen and water. Ideally, I'd be making a farm, but I don't have access to that yet, nor is it coming up anytime soon. So, unfortunately, building a farm right away is not possible. I could build a hydroponics farm, which are farms that get you a decent amount of food, and more importantly, they don't require a hell of a lot of people to work in. A ranch requires 6 people. I'm not exactly sure how much of a production of food you're going to get from that, because I usually don't use them. Alternatively, you can use an outside ranch. This thing requires 9 workers, and they only have access to a single shift per day. It's a fairly sizable structure, and requires people to go outside, which is usually not good for their sanity. No, they're not just gamers who don't go outside. It's not like that. It's more that people outside have to wear spacesuits and stuff like that, and they just don't like that. Now, normally you'd be building a living quarters, living complex, or anything like that to get residential space, but right now I don't need that, because I already have this archaeology spire. What I do need are some other services that make life a little bit more comfortable. I want a diner, so we can actually eat the food that we're producing. I want a space bar. Especially relaxation and social interactions are very important. So that's something else that's going to join in. A casino complex is a bit expensive to run, because you need 15 electronics to build that up. Well, just to build it, and then 2 maintenance, again, electronics. The art store, the small art store, the electronics store, all of these are not really a priority for me right now, because at the moment, all I care about is getting my first colonists in, and getting research. So I'm going to throw down at least 1 research lab, which is going to dig in pretty badly into my electronics consumption, because they do require 5 to build. And with that I might need a new drop of electronics pretty soon. Also, let's extend the power grid, because the power grid is going to have to go all the way over there. And I want to start getting water from here, because right now the only water production that I have is the moisture evaporator. And if a dust storm hits, like now, that thing ceases to function. So what I would need is a production unit that extracts... that's life support, that extracts water. And as long as it has access to a deposit, that's all that I need. Now it is at a bit of an incline here. And unfortunately I cannot put power lines between there and there, so I'll have to set up a couple of windmills to just make sure that I can use this thing in the first place. Also, I want these rocks out of the way. So time to terraform some. Yes, I know that there's blocking objects, don't worry about it. Okay, and where's my dozer? He's still working on that, which is right now not really a priority for me. I just need that thing flattened so I can set up more than 1 water extractor. The game is now protesting that it has low water and low O2. Yes, I'm not producing any oxygen at the moment, so that makes sense. And it's not really a priority. Water is just used for fuel, so I can send the Stealth 2 rocket back. Don't think I can do that inside of a dust storm, though. Yeah, dust storm. Rockets cannot launch or land during a dust storm. So this thing is grounded for the time being. Now another interesting question is, can I even get there? Yeah, I can get there. And I think we might already have one drone. It's helping out with flattening the area over here. That's it. Now this thing is going to require a bit of concrete and some machine parts. I still have some machine parts, but not a whole lot of them. And of course I will need power. I want this thing to be operational throughout the day. So I'm going to go with a large wind turbine and make sure that I can always keep it operational. Let's not put that directly in the way. Power cable. Like that, that's enough. And then the pipes. The pipes are something that you can build upwards on a ramp. So I'd set a connection here and there, and that works. And then I connect it onto these pipe connectors. And I'm going to tie everything together to make sure that I can also keep producing fuel, even when, like right now, there's a dust storm happening. Click there and click there. Good. Okay, we have our pipes. They're coming up. These guys are working on producing the pipes. It looks like we might need a bit more concrete. But the concrete's also being used to actually build the research lab. So maybe building another concrete miner would be an interesting investment, because this seems to be holding me back at the moment. So let's go for another concrete extractor. Like that. That is going to require more power. 5 to be exact, so it's not too bad. Hook that up. Now these power accumulators, basically batteries, they are discharging right now because it is
Sector
night.
Scanned.
And because of that, the solar arrays are not producing enough power to fuel the whole colony, or to power the whole colony. So these things are slowly discharging. And when they're discharging, they slowly sink back into the ground. So you can sort of see how much power they have. The taller those things are, the better it is. Let's see, this dumping ground still has plenty of space, that's good. Is that outside of a drone controller? Yes, that's outside the range of a drone controller. Okay, so I'll have to manually bring the supplies over. That means that I want you to stop auto-gathering. And let's see, you need... we need machine parts. Let's see, can I sustain life yet? No, because I don't have any oxygen. I do want this one to go home. I want you to drop off some of the metal that, or actually all of the metal that you have. And I want to call in a small ship. Or, yeah, no, let's go with a cargo rocket. If I get a cargo rocket and I bring in some of the lesser available supplies, like these, I can also get a couple of drones. I don't really need seeds yet, because I'm not in that stage of terraforming. Prefab buildings, no. This would be handy, though. Producing machine parts directly on Mars. And aside from that... Actually, I'll take 2. If I can get machine parts built very quickly, then I can potentially go for that wonder building that I have access to. 1. I still have 23,000 capability. But I'm not going to use everything. I'm just going to send it out to make sure that I have those supplies and that I still have some budget left. Okay, you have waste rock because you flattened the area. I want you to continue working on that project. I want this one to pick up a bit of concrete and some of the machine parts that we still have. Now I can send it over here. And I can send my RC commander over there. And with it, I can build up the items over here. I will probably also at some point have to build a drone hub, which after the thought, or after, is more of an afterthought, because I should have built that, should have sent that with the rocket that's coming this way. But for now, I guess this thing is going to have to keep policing the area over here, otherwise the buildup of waste rock in that water fabricator, or that water extractor, is not going to get removed. If that doesn't get removed fast enough, it just stops. And that's not something that I want, because I would rather like my colonists to survive. Alright, that should be enough to start producing water. Yep, it has no power, I know. Oh, I still have 2 concrete, insufficient. Alright, pick up more concrete. And
Sector scanned.
Again.
Anomaly.
New anomaly. The RC Explorer is immediately jumping on top of that. Now, what I also need is another couple of items which are producing my water, or rather storing my water, and which are producing oxygen. I want to have a couple of these. You basically only need one, but if one fails, I'm going to have a problem. So I'll set up a few, distributed over the colony, so that if something gets just damaged, or in the worst case even destroyed, I'll still have some in reserve. These things require... It produced 3 oxygen, this thing requires 0.9 currently, so that should be enough. And a couple of oxygen tanks, just to make sure that I can store the excess oxygen here, and here, and... Oh, actually, no, the other way around. So they're immediately tied in. One... set up one right here. And I am not yet producing water because I don't have any metals over here. Alright, here's my resupply ship. Bring some of the metals with you and then hop over there. Because I have power, but it's not connected yet, because this little power cable is not yet built, because the thing didn't have any metals on it.
Anomaly analyzed.
If you don't very much mind, could you kindly build that? Ah, there was one coming in. Okay. Now we have a new tech available for research. Gene adaptation and nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion. That seems to be an interesting option because it gives me a lot of power. The fusion reactor. It is expensive though. That is 15 polymers, 15 electronics, and 8 colonists just to generate power. But it generates a lot of it. The other one was... no, not that one. Gene adaptation, this one. Unlocks new crops in farms and hydroponics farms. I'm currently working on the utility crops, which will also unlock new farms, or new things that I can build in the farm. And the next one I want is the planetary survey, so I get new planetary anomalies that I can research. Alright, my drones are emptying this one. I'm producing water over there. I still need to create a power connection to the Moxie over there. And once that's done, I still need to set up a couple of storages for water. Because I will be producing a lot more than I actually need. And I want to make sure that I still have some stored. Again, if the water at some point, no matter what the cause is, will fail. Alright, this one's done. Just go on auto-gather again. This one's producing as much as is needed. Total amount of 1. Water production is 1. So I don't think that this is doing anything. It's not producing at full capacity due to lack of demand. You can produce 5 more if needed. Once I build this thing
Sector
and the other one,
scanned.
you will
Select
find
a
that
sector
it
to
actually
scan.
does produce more. Okay, I think we're just about ready to bring in the colonists. Now I'm going to go for a passenger rocket. And with the passenger rocket you can select who you want on this mission. These are your colonists. They each have a specific name. They also have a specialization, which improves the amount of work that they get done in any particular field. Like a botanist produces more food. An officer is working very well as a security officer. An engineer boosts production in a factory. So you gotta select who you need and where you need them. Where you need them is mostly managed by the game itself. It tries to figure out what the best location is for everyone. Now, one thing that I want, and you can filter these, is no, not the celebrity, thank you very much. The perks, or yeah, it was a perk, I think. No, not a genius. I want the sexy perk. Greatly increased birth rate. Here's what's going to happen. Once you get your first shipment of 12 colonists, they are going to be very closely monitored. And you get this sort of cooldown period in which you cannot bring in more colonists. But this period is immediately stopped once a baby is born on Mars. So what I will do is bring in as many sexy colonists as possible. And by doing that, increase the chance that there's a baby born. And by doing that, I can probably bring in new people faster. Now, I will take as many scientists as possible. And that's sheerly because I want science to be produced. I will not... Well, I might need an engineer. Let's kick out all the no specs. We need to produce food. Let's go with 3 botanists. An engineer works very well in a factory, like the metals factory that I'm going to set up. So I want a couple of engineers. Let's say 3 engineers. Where's the third one? Is there a third one? Here. 1, 2... Yeah, I have 10. Scientists. 1, 2... I need another scientist. Savannah Grant. Leaves me with 1. I'll take a no-spec. Because the no-spec colonists can man any kind of building. They're just not as efficient at it. And by using some of those people, you can make sure that the other... What? Oh, right. You can make sure that the other colonists get these comfort items like diners and other stuff manned. Alright. Shift base. Shifts are important. I want my work to be done in the first shift. And the second shift, that's when I want people to start relaxing. So the first shift is going to be active for the research lab and the hydroponics farm. It's going to be disabled for the diner. It's going to be closed on the first shift, but it will be open on the second. Spacebar, closed on the first, open on the second and the third. And I now also have access to the production in the form of the small machines factory. And I want that to be here. These require a ton of power. These require 18 power to keep operational. So my power grid is going to have to improve significantly. And what I have now is just simply not enough. So a couple of wind turbines might help with that. And aside from that, I could bring in more of these. Just build more large solar panels because they are fairly cheap. But I need somewhere to store the power because right now I'm building, I'm generating more power than I need. And I am storing it, but these things are full. So let's set up a power accumulator. Again, quite close. And fairly spread out through the colony as well to make sure that if something hits, I don't lose all of them. And aside from that, I want a few more large solar panels. Four more should produce, what's that, 20? I'm going to need a lot more than that. Yeah, just like that. Then set up another power cable. And connect that up. Now, I know for the OCD types that this is not looking pretty. There is no real perfect way of doing this, at least I haven't found it yet. So, some of this stuff you might not really like the look of. So be it. So be it. The game works with these hexagons, and there is only so much that you can work with. So it'll never look perfect, unfortunately. Now this drone controller is operational. It's keeping the waste rock away from the, what's that called? Water production. I'll also set up a dumping ground somewhere. Yeah, just over there. And immediately all the drones spring to life and start taking the waste rock that was piled up next to the water extractor and removing it to the large dumping site. Alright. The rocket's underway. The Stealth 2. The power grid is not up to powering all of this. I'm going to turn everything on, because I want to see how much power it requires. These are powered on. I need 39 power. That is quite a lot. I will be producing probably sufficient. But you can see that these things are discharging pretty quickly, and they can only discharge 20 at the most. Now I have all of my solar arrays operational, but I'm still not generating enough power. So I will need something more. I'm producing a few, but that's about, what is that, 20 power I think? Yeah, that's 20 power, that's not enough. Yeah, let's just keep building here. The power cable, like that. Once this thing is operational, I'm going to be actually providing one more power than I need. But that is not exactly giving you an accurate picture. Because, sure enough, I'm getting one more power than I need. But this thing is only requiring 5 power, and this one's producing 10. And that's also something that the game keeps in mind. But this is not connected to the power grid. So it is not actually providing power to those batteries that I have built up. Those power accumulators. So that is a bit of a... well, something that you need to keep in mind. This display is not always accurate. Alright, the rocket is about to come down. The Stealth 2. And with it, the first couple of colonists. Now, all of these buildings are complaining that they don't actually have any people working in them. That's about to change. And here they come. Getting used to the lower gravity. Samar, Savannah, Nipamuk, Chang, Christian,
New
Lidzi,
colonists have
Clark,
arrived.
Ho, Anne, Dewu, Aritia, and Cassie. A new
Full
beginning.
of hope and determination. The first founders have set foot on the Red Planet.
Now, this is that effect that I was discussing earlier. Arrival of additional colonists temporarily suspended until the colony proves able to sustain human life. Your founder colonist must survive for 10 sols before additional people can arrive. The colony will be evaluated positively before the period ends in case the first human baby is born. Now, in a previous episode I was discussing what these sols are. They're a day. So basically I've built everything that I have over the period of 16 days, but that's not exactly true, because it's going to take longer than that. It's also going to take very, very little time to actually get a baby born, which
Crop failure reported.
is a bit weird. I mean, sure enough, it can be done, I guess, but it's exceptionally fast. Now, this one's complaining that it doesn't really have that much food. Fortunately, the colonists brought some food with them. They get 8 food just from the transport, from the rocket that they fly in on. And that should keep them alive for a little bit until I get the first hydroponics farm operational. And I can also produce algae, which reduce oxygen consumption. I can get microgreens, which produce quite a bit of food. Low yield, slow growth, require less water. Leaf crops, good yield, slow growth. That's 12 over 4 sols, and this is 2.5 over 1 sol. This one is more efficient, because this over 4 sols gives you 10. This one gives you 12. Then seed crops give you seeds, which I don't really need at this point yet. These things are apparently edible, but only give you 2. So this one's already more efficient than that. And especially since... well, actually, no, sorry, this produces oxygen. No, that's not really what I need. I'm just going to continue with microgreens after that first crop rotation. Correct? No, this one. Leaf crops. Alright, the other one. The resupply ship has been resupplied. It has been, sorry, refueled, rather. Let's see if there are any things that I can do. on the planet itself. Project Demeter. I need a medic. I don't have a medic. Hinterland. I need a dozer. Yeah, I can do this. Send. Stealth 1. Send it. There is no free rover. Yes, that's correct. I need this one to temporarily suspend working on the project and to just go towards the stealth ship. So I can then have that project fixed. Dozer aboard. Lift off. And we do not have enough power. I'm going to set priority for the dome to maximum. Otherwise there will not be enough power to keep this thing operational. So right now it's generating more power than it needs. Or it's getting enough power. That means that other things are not getting enough power. Seeing as I still have some machine parts, I could set up a couple more large wind turbines. And these things work day and night. They are fairly expensive to maintain though, especially when compared to the other ones.
Resources
These only
low.
require metal. These things require machine parts. Speaking of machine parts, I'm actually producing some, but not many. Just 1.5 per soul, so per day. I can improve that by opening another work shift, but I don't really have enough workers. I just discovered, with that planetary thing, Project Phoenix. When a colonist dies, there's a 50% chance he or she is reconstructed as a youth with the same traits. It's an interesting project, but I'm not really at that level of research yet. Now these things, these research bureaus are definitely getting a lot more research done. Because it was originally just 100, but the research building is now generating 180. So I'm actually generating a lot more research than I was. And that should make getting more knowledge and further projects in a lot faster. Alright, what should the next step be? More colonists. That's going to be an important area. Just make sure I have more colonists. And also make sure that their comfort is going up. What they're missing right now is shopping. Some buildings are not working. This one, because I don't have enough workers for it. And aside from that, what they also want is luxury. This one does not provide that. What can I provide that gives them luxury? A small grocer will give them food, or will give them shopping capabilities. So let's set that up. And yeah, this is luxury, a small art store. I could just build one of those, but again, it will need somebody who's going to actually work there. Something else that I can put down here, because there's not a whole lot. Hold on, if I build this somewhere else, I might be able to build a decoration. Decorations are not just that. They also provide relaxation, exercise and playing. All at the same level of comfort. All are at 40. They just have different needs. You got the large garden, which takes up a whole quadrant or a whole sector of your dome. Or you can go for one of the smaller ones, like a pond. Or even just a small fountain, which is just one item. But they hold fewer colonists. I'm gonna go with alleys over there. And hopefully between these two they will be a little happier. Now I am generating a bit more power.
Milestone achieved.
We got food produced. That's 250 research as a bonus. And now they're working on that leaf crop. In the meanwhile though, I don't know if I have enough food. That could be a problem. What's this again? Right, that's the Stealth 1 who came back from their research project, their planetary project. Now, I guess I'm gonna have to drop ship some food, otherwise the colonists might starve. Not on work shift 1, work shift 2 or 3. Now you're gonna see this icon of not enough people for a lot of time. There is simply not a whole lot that I can do to fix that. Because it requires more colonists, and I cannot call those in for the next 8 days and 14 hours. Depending on whether or not I'm capable of getting the first children born. And when that happens, I'll be able to get more people on here faster. So I'm going to make sure that one of these things is refueled and ready to go back home. Because I only have 2 of these, and building another one is really expensive. Alright, with that I'm going to end the episode. We have our first population going. We have a bit of a power grid issue still. For now, it seems like my batteries can still hold up to that, but not by a whole lot. So soon, I will probably need to be producing more power. Especially as I build more buildings inside this dome. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. It is a very, very interesting game. Link down below in the description if you want to find out more about it. That is a Humble Bundle link, by the way, which I usually use because it not only provides you with the game, but it also gives some to charity. So that's something that I definitely support. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you soon for more episodes.